We're back. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Today's Weather Tonight. Here, as always, I'm your meteorologist, your comedian / meteorologist for the evening, Cloud Hudson, and I'll be bringing you all of tonight's top 5 stories. Yeah, let's get into it. Let's just jump into it. Wearing a very fiery shirt today. I'm feeling not very fiery, but I wanted to feel something. Let's get into it. What happened with our volcanoes today? Well, first I'm going to talk about our headlines. Earth set to change forever, a 6th ocean on the verge of forming. And this is just talking about the ocean that's going to form when the Rift Valley zone in East Africa eventually separates enough for the Indian Ocean to flood into it. So we are going through a ocean forming event right now, just on a really long scale. Louisiana detects first presumptive positive human case of H5N1 bird flu. That's fun. That's a fun thing that I've heard is going around in birds. So, yeah, I really hope that that's not going to spread person to person. It's just, I guess somebody's out here fucking these birds. Yeah. It's been going on since 2022. 60 cases have been reported across the United States, so I don't know why we're talking about this. Maybe Louisiana is making it a thing. How does it have the first case in 60 human cases? Majority linked to exposure to infected poultry or dairy cows. Okay. So everybody's come into contact with these sick and dead birds. Let's stop touching dead birds. Maybe that's a good way to do it, to stop the spread. We can stop touching those dead birds. What a concept. Maybe we shouldn't be fucking around with that. Here, we're going to get to our earthquake update in a second, but here's some video from the magnitude 6.4 earthquake that struck in Chile in Molina. Look at that. Beautiful sunset. They were probably just trying to get a video of the sunset, and then everything's swaying and shaking and looked like things where the ceiling light fixture was swaying a little bit before. Yeah, you see a little swaying of the ceiling light fixture, and then the Christmas tree, the Santa is dancing. It's funny because it's probably one of those dancing Santas. Oh, and it's on top of the turntable, and somebody probably scratched that record with it. Yeah, wow. Ooh, and then it's still swaying a little bit. So good video there. You can see it's not like catastrophic, but things definitely were shaken, and I would be scared if I was in a shittier building. Here's another video. Maybe we can see. Oh, and we want to credit Diego Morales, not Morales, Diego Morals is what it's spelled like. Oh, look, there's a doggy in this one. Look at the beginning. There's a doggy. Okay, hold on. Dougie, perrito. And there's water splashing up and out of a pool. That's pretty cool. Dougie. It's like, the dougie's so cute. Okay, so that's what that 6.4 earthquake looked like when we talk about that. This story is about the atmospheric river setting up in the Pacific coast. I'm not sure where this image is from, or when this image is from NOAA. This is showing it going on Southern California, which isn't exactly where the river is set up right now. So I think they're just taking the phrase atmospheric river and trying to make a headline out of it. Basically, we do have rain and wind and snow going on in California. It is related to an atmospheric river. It's just, I don't know why that's newsworthy. Here's a fun one that has to do with, I think, morphogenetic fields, because it's about the similarities of behavior that'll arise in similar situations. 8-year-old boy discovery rewrites 100 years worth of insect and plant knowledge. So I don't think it really rewrites it. I read this story. This kid, whose dad is an entomologist, by the way. So did his dad really discover it? And it's just cute to put the kid's name on it. Well, the kid discovered that ants were bringing wasp galls from oak trees into their hives, or not their hives, their ant hills, the way that they bring seeds in there. And the way that seeds attract ants to bring their seeds into the ant hill for safekeeping is by putting this little eliosome on top of the seed itself. It's this little cap of rich in amino fatty acids. And this is called Myrmecoccus seeding. Myrmecoccus seeding, I think. And then the galls, you can see how similar they look. These are things that are formed on leaves when a wasp injects the leaf with its somewhat, I think it's a mixture of poison and the actual wasp larvae itself, turning that part of the leaf into this thing called a gall. And the gall was being carried back to the anthill just like it was a seed by the ants, so that they could eat the little part on top of it called a capello. And the seed, it's the eliosome, and the gall, it's the capello. And both the seed and the gall body, which is where the wasp larvae are stored, and where the birth of the plant information is stored, get left in safekeeping, discarded by the ants as waste, but actually that is where the original plant that created it wanted something to happen out of it. So they put little bait on top for the ants. They kind of pay the ants with this amino fatty acid rich tasty treat on top of their offspring. It's like if you paid a babysitter with food, or I guess it would be more like if you paid your surrogate mother with food and housing for the duration of the incubation of your offspring. It's just interesting that both of these, both the wasps and the plants that get these galls, or both the plants that create these seeds and the wasps that create these galls in the plant. And these aren't from the same plant, by the way. This is a seed on something similar to like a bloodroot or something. And this is a gall from like an oak tree. So not even something an ant would usually be taking back to its hidey hole. It's interesting that both of them developed to be used by ants this way, even though there's no intersection of these plants with the plants with the insects, or like gall wasps did not evolve from the seeds that have a eliosome on it. They had parallel evolution, which is pretty interesting to me when you think about resonance and the ability for an innovation to spring up in one place or another. of totally independent origins. Maybe the gall wasp really did invent this concept, and maybe the diaspore really did invent its own concept, and maybe the ant is the only one to realize, hey, I get to reap the benefits here, all the while not knowing that it is doing labor for the wasps and the plants. Or maybe it does know and it just doesn't care. It's just like, hey, I'm getting something from this. You're getting something from this. Mutually beneficial partnership here in biology. So that's pretty cool. That was a fun headline. I liked that one. Here's another fun headline. Scientists develop incredible gravity-powered... sounds so much more fancy than it is when you read the article. Scientists develop incredible gravity-powered system that could change the way we use solar panels. It doesn't consume any electricity. And what is the concept they came up with? Well, here in the middle, I should credit them, researchers in Saudi Arabia, technology professor Xiao Cheng Gan. I think that's how Xiao Cheng Gan is how I say it. He figured out how to solve the problem of overheating solar panels and atmospheric water harvesting in one. What you do here is you have the solar panel in the middle, and they coated it in a lubricant so that the water that condenses onto the solar panel rolls down. All they did was decrease the surface tension on the surface of the solar panel itself. And not only does that cool down the panel, it's being cooled down through radiative cooling, which is, I'm assuming these panels on the side that are angled, those are radiative, coated or painted in either black or white or something. They're probably black panels on the sides of the solar panels that absorb the infrared, or it absorbed the heat energy from the solar panel in the middle that's soaking up all that heat from the sun, plus all the thermal energy created by like internal processes of like how it's converted to electricity. It radiates the hot back up to the sun, and that's how it's cooled down. All they did was make the solar panel less sticky, and then the water that would condense naturally on this perpetually cooling solar panel would slide down, condense, and be harvested down here. And they found that it actually does harvest atmospheric water twice as fast as conventional or other existing atmospheric water harvesting systems. So harvesting water out of thin air still is plausible. I'm trying to think about how this cooling setup works for the solar panel. I'm guessing that it, how does that cool it? I guess this would have a higher black body temperature than the solar panel itself slightly. And so that would always cause a movement of heat from the solar panel to these wings. And that in turn would cause condensation, because while the air around these hot flaps on the side, for lack of a better word, these hot wings on the side heat up the air around it, it can hold more water vapor. But when that and that probably dries out the air around it, taking water vapor there. And then when that more humid air comes in contact with the now cooler solar panel, it would condense and fall. Also, the process of the water condensing onto the solar panel and rolling across the surface of the solar panel probably also cools it off as well. I don't know. I'm just being very hypothetical here. It's an interesting new, it's funny that they're like gravity powered self-cooling capabilities. And all it is they like put Teflon on the surface so that the water wouldn't stick and you could use the water. Interesting. I don't know if it was Teflon or whatever. Here's another engineering headline that was more of a fail. Typhoon-proof blades of world's most powerful wind turbine break off in China. Here's that big world's most powerful wind turbine. You can see the platform up there and the size of people standing on it. That is a ginormous thing. Can produce like 80 megawatts or something. What did it say? 80 million kilowatts per hour annually. Staggering rated capacity of 22 megawatts. Sorry. 80 gigawatts of power per hour annually. But weirdly, even though this was designed to withstand wind speeds of 79.8 meters per second, it randomly had giant pieces of the blades falling off as it was spinning in early December. It doesn't say a date. It was just installed in August 28th, and a prototype just like it withstood Super Typhoon Yagi as it was out offshore. But somehow the onshore one wasn't even going through a typhoon and still was falling apart. Very weird. Maybe it is something to do with a variable that we're not considering yet. Maybe there is something in the either bonding or attaching of the pieces that would be, I don't know, either micro like murmurings of little tiny resonances that haven't gotten canceled out in the operation of the machine that might amplify to fling off the part, or it could be interference from electromagnetic activity from the sun that or in the Schumann resonance some change in the electromagnetic field of the atmosphere where this is in, that would cause some sort of weakening of the bonds of either the like nails, glues, rivets, like whatever, some sort of something is wrong with the bonding. Very interesting. It's probably something they did not consider, because I bet that the engineers considered every avenue that they thought was relevant. So this is just another headline that reminds you that even though we're capable of creating like really awesome, magnificent things like harvesting this much wind, you maybe shouldn't have just things this big, especially when we still don't know as much about resonance as we do. Like we're still missing a lot of information. Reminds me of a Millennium Bridge situation where we might have some micro reverberations that cause things to fly off. That is my complete speculation opinion. Okay, let's go look at our California's historic Bidwell Mansion destroyed by raging fire. In Chico, California, the Victorian Mansion and Museum has been destroyed in the fire. That is crazy. Very sad for fans of Victorian architecture. Let's see. Oh, Gemini meteor shower going on right now. I did actually see at least one meteor from this tonight, as it was like immediately after I was getting out of my car when I got home. I saw a shooting star, which was really cool. You can probably see one outside too if you go look. Let's see. The other day, I lost a bracelet, and I don't know why I was just prompted to look for it. No idea why I thought it would be just laying around here somewhere. Okay, let's look at. Let me see. Oh my gosh, I've been ignoring the chat. I'm so sorry. Cloud, aliens everywhere, F the government. It took 1.21 gigawatts to travel through time in the movie Back to the Future, or 1.21 billion gigawatts. I thought that was gigawatts, is what he says in the movie, which is always funny to me. Gigawatts. I look a little bit like Doc Brown, his hair right now. Aliens everywhere. Maybe that's just what they want you to think. I'm always suspicious of narratives that make you afraid. If anything's scary, I'm like, who's telling that story to make you afraid? Maybe you don't need to be afraid of aliens, actually. And I don't know, maybe the real conspiracy is that they want us to think there's aliens. Maybe the real conspiracy is that our government is incompetent and just doesn't want to admit that they did not know what these drones were. That's probably more likely. Probably more likely that they just didn't notice the fucking drones and didn't want to admit it. Or they actually put the drones there themselves. Either way. Let's look at our I was going to look at volcanoes today. Ooh, I got this fiery shirt to look at our volcanoes. I don't know why I thought the fire was from the bottom on this, but I think it's kind of cool that it's coming from the top. My targeted ads are just so wrong sometimes, but it's very funny. Okay. Samir showing up very distinctly on the satellite imagery there. You can see a really nice cumulus formation around the top. The big like cotton ball puffy clouds are foofing up around that one. Vertical motion, yeah. Home Reef volcano in the Tonga Islands is showing this thermal signature. The new lava continues to expand the island to the north and northeast. So we are experiencing a land forming event here in the Tonga Islands on the Home Reef volcano, creating an island there. Suwano's Jima erupted, Ibu erupted, Lewatobi continues to erupt. Yes, as we're talking about Tonga, the effusive eruption at the island continues. The lava flow continues to pour out from the summit vent to the north-northeast, where it has been already forming a new lava delta. Thus, the advancing lava enlarges the island's size as detected in the attached Sentinel-2 time-lapse, comparing datasets from the 7th and the 12th of December. I don't see an attached thing. Considerable visible discolored water in the very close vicinity of the volcano might highly likely result from the hydrothermal system beneath the edifice, where hot water and steam interact with the ambient rocks, dissolving minerals towards the surface. This leads to changes in water color, such as a yellowish to green tint due to sulfur dioxide and hydrogen sulfide. So that would be all of this discoloration. All of that right there is what they're talking about. The underwater geothermal vents letting off steam and mineral deposits in this area. Underwater, not quite creating land yet, but creating different concentrations of mineral deposits surrounding the island. Cool. Bopo continues its volcanic explosive activity, Santiaguito, occasional volcanic ash emissions. Yeah, everybody else looking pretty solid. No big changes there. Let's look at Svartsengi. See if we've got any updates. 18 minutes ago. Says eruption ceased on Tuesday the 10th. How did I miss that? Oh no, that was last year. Maybe that's wrong. The seventh effusive period since December 2023 lasted 18 days. It ranks as the second largest eruption in terms of area. Okay, so the other day when we talked about deflation stopping and inflation starting again, they're counting that as the end of the eruption. So Svartsengi no longer actively erupting, but definitely still active in its inflationary stage, like the ground is deforming yet again underneath it. The effusive activity at the eruption site continues, even though it has been steadily decreasing. Oh no, that's from the 9th. No glow is visible on the Spattercones crater, second largest eruption in terms of area. So that is this medium gray darkness path of lava around here. So not the biggest, but definitely very close. Crazy. So we've come to an end there, finally. Let's see. Oh, here's the time lapse. Yeah, look at the creation of the island right before our very eyes. It is turning into this like clubs or chef hat or puppy dog paw, or you see the like three lobes here expanding to the northeast. That's really cool. And the water is changing color as well. Very neat. I'm sure the yellow is from the sulfide, the sulfur stuff. Yellow to green tint due to sulfur dioxide and hydrogen sulfide. Yeah. Hot water and steam interact with ambient rocks, dissolving minerals towards the surface. So that's making the water colored because it's full of dissolved rocks, which are just pigment, essentially. Pigment in the paint of the ocean there. Was that a milkshake? Yums. Yes, I am drinking a milkshake that's like a Sonic, not sponsored. I don't go to Sonic very often. I usually go to a local southern chain called Cookout, but I had to get gas before I could wait in line today. I sound like such an American. Had to get gasoline before I got takeout. Fucking love Sonic. Hey, yes, it's Jenny and Kaylee in the house, and a third person too. So reveal yourself. No, I'm glad to have some of my favorite people here. Y'all both have amazing dogs. Cute, I think cute puppies. I got the cookie dough one, and like I can't drink it through the straw at all. There we go. Finally got some. Okay. Let's go to our earthquakes now. Earthquakes. So, yes. We had what did you say, Jenny? I heard the Midwest is supposed to get a very big earthquake. You will have to ask the earthquake forecasters about that. I am not an earthquake forecaster. I'm just reporting what happened, but I will say I wouldn't be surprised by that forecast because We've had spreading sixes across the entire Pacific plate. Kind of the only place that hasn't had a big six is where we're still dealing with the aftershocks of that seven. Let me take the ring sizes down real quick so that we can magnitudes up. Where was the big one? I swear I thought I saw a bigger. Oh, I guess that was just like weird perspective of these threes. We've had some mid-range surface and moderately, not even deep, but like 15 kilometers depth quakes here along the California coastline, and down in Southern California had a little flurry of threes, 3 and upper 2s. There was also 2.5, 2.9, and 2.5 here, with a 2.6 in the middle of Kansas. So maybe something big is coming. I would guess it would be in the New Madrid seismic zone if we had something coming in the middle. But if I add back in our lower magnitude quakes, we see a lot going on in California, which isn't surprising because that's where we had that 7. We had the 6s in the past week over here in the middle of the Aleutian Island chain, and now a 4.9 right there near Adak, Alaska. We had a 4.7 out here on Marianas Trench. Not a deep one, though. A 4.8 at 37 kilometers depth, and right next to it, a 4.4 at 37, and then also a 4.5 at 165 kilometers depth. And we had a 4.3 here near Fiji at 625 kilometers depth. Damn, that is the deepest one for sure. A really deep quake, and a 4.7 at 83 kilometers depth. So I don't know. 4.3 at 625 kilometers depth. That is way down there. I don't know if you can tell, but that's like, I mean, where is this 4.9? Yeah, 40. I don't know if depth exaggeration is really showing much here. Let's see. Oh, down in the South Sandwich Islands, we've got a 5.3 at 10 kilometers depth. Here is the 6.4 that we watched some video of. That's actually fairly recent. Happened at 6:38 p.m. We had a 6.4 at 110 kilometers depth. That was like just hours ago this evening. Up here, we had a 4.7 and a 4.9. Around Puerto Rico, we have continued constant activity. There was a 4.9 over here in Greece and a 4.7 near the near in Iran. In the El Burz mountain range, just at the southern tip of the Caspian Sea. This was only at 10 kilometers depth. Nothing in the Himalayas or China today. Mildly 4.7, pretty close. Let's see. Nothing in the Northeast. Maybe we'll see something soon. Still lots of little tremors shaking and quaking out in the mountain regions of the United States out west. Got 2s all over the place in the west. The reason I wouldn't be surprised to see a big quake coming is, let me turn this off real quick. Look at all the places that these have hit. There's been, let me take you a few days back, go to like 5s and up and take us to like a week. Here's all the places that we've gotten like bigger quakes, and all of these are pretty recent. Let's see. Yeah, this will show. The oldest one is this blue one right here. Then we had the, actually, can I go back to when the 7 shows? No, it's not letting me go back to the 5th. I guess I only have like 10 days on here or something. But we've had we had this 5.7 out in Nevada. We had the 6 and many 5s out here in the Aleutian Islands. On that side of the 6, we had this 6. On this side, we didn't have a 6 strike in the Alaska, Canada coast border regions. We did have a 5.2 up here in Iceland just at the beginning of the week on the 8th. We've had a decent 6 here. Let's turn off the Earth sphere real quick. The opposite side, let me turn on borders. Outline. There we go. We're seeing, I think the momentum has spread down to here and here. I wouldn't be surprised to see more over here. Let's turn Earth back on. Or maybe I want to do, forget what that map is. This one shows plate boundaries as well. I think that is earthquake numbers of earthquakes. I think it's possible that the Midwest would get something, but I don't know why it would be there. I would think the next thing would be in the Indian Ocean or somewhere in Africa or somewhere possibly in the Middle East. The energy going from this direction, cross this plate into this plate and this plate boundary, ricocheting. I don't know. But what have you heard? I don't know anything about this forecast for a Midwestern quake. Oh, you have a corgi. That's so cute. I saw a corgi earlier tonight. That must have been terrifying for you. Yeah. Oh my God. You had a huge earthquake out there. You also just had a huge flooding event, and there's another one happening now. Let's talk about the weather, today's weather tonight. Let's see. So this is the weather we're looking at, the weather in question. So this is the atmospheric river they were talking about in that one article we brought up. So you can see it is, as we spread into Canada, it's turning to snow. In some of the upper elevations of the Pacific Northwest, it is snow. This is on the winter weather one, so you can see it's either rain, snow, or mix. We have been through a lot together. We've all been through a lot together. I wasn't able to be here with us for about a month because of, I just didn't have internet for a month because of the weather. Some of the road driving home had a lot of water. I'm glad that you made it home because even a few inches of water can sweep away your vehicle. Just remember that. There's flash flooding possible. Here's the mesoscale precipitation discussion. They're talking about the jet streak being like the left exit, right entrance of the jet streak being aligned with the coastline. They're also talking about the really good or like really high water values that this has. There's a lot of available water in the atmosphere. Some really solid 45 to 50 knot, fairly orthogonal ascent. The main core of the atmospheric river will continue with that and slowly drift southward over the next 4 to 6 hours, going from the Redwood Coast to the Napa region. Additional totals of 2 to 3 inches are likely through 12Z as the core of the atmospheric river shifts ashore into the Central Valley and the lower slopes of the northern Sierra Nevada range. Possible flash flooding in Central California goes west. Water vapor suite also depicts the core of a strong mid to low level cyclone developing just west. Yeah, of 130 west, about 36 to 37 north, quickly approaching. Upstream, strong digging of the trough is strengthening. So what they're saying is we've got this big spitty boy. There is a big splashing up of water hitting the coast pretty much like a T, orthogonally means at a right angle. That means that the air is not only laden with a lot of moisture, but it's also getting steep ascent. It's being adiabatically lifted up the mountains. So it is undergoing even more moisture consolidation and condensation as the air parcel moves up the face of the mountains, up to where it's colder and there's less pressure. The water condenses out of it. That's what like makes rain seem to come out of thin air at the top of the mountain. It's because the water parcel down there would not have been a cloud. Once it gets up here, it would have been a cloud. So very, yeah, that's what's going on over there. Is a lot of this water, once it reaches the mountains, becomes the storm. And also we got this spinny boy off the coast of Portland, Seattle, Vancouver area. It's honestly perfectly aligned with that Pacific Northwest coastal curve. This, I guess an occluded front is what they're coding it as. I guess occluded because it would be behind this cold front. It is spinning a lot of this once we get the perpendicular ashoring of the atmospheric river. Things are spinning along the coast to swirl back along the coastline, swirling around this low pressure system. And that's bringing all that moisture up into the cold area there. Now, that is not the only area we're looking at. We also have a freezing rain mesoscale discussion here on the border of Iowa and Missouri. That's north central Missouri into southeastern Iowa. Did I say Idaho? I meant Iowa. Rain and embedded thunderstorms forming across, likely supporting moderate freezing rain with the potential for appreciable icing. Now, I don't know if you guys have ever been through an ice storm, but it is in some ways very much worse than a snowstorm. At a certain level, you can only get so much more snow. But with icing, there's a big difference between 1 hour of ice storm and 3 hours of ice storm. What doesn't fall with like half an inch of ice on it may be completely crumbling and irreparable once it gets like 1.5 inches of ice. It's like the water freezes on contact of the surface of power lines and trees and all kinds of flimsy objects, and thickens up as the water appreciates onto it. Now here where they're getting snow, they're probably fine. Things are probably pretty chill between like Sioux Falls and Minneapolis or near Mason City or Fort Dodge or Waterloo. But down here near Ottumwa and Kirksville, south of Des Moines, really, and over here in eastern Nebraska, we're looking at a lot of icing and more of it coming with this water feature, with this little bit of activity. I don't know what's going on here that they're not, maybe there's no moisture to feed this area, so it's going to peter out, but there is moisture to feed this area, so they're warning for that icing event. They're trying to take us out, but they never will. Not us. They're never going to get us. This is live. Hi. Hello. Absconditis. Absconditis 1. Do you have like an itis of absconding? You have an illness that makes you abscond away? This is live. Hello. This is, if you're watching on Twitch, I'm also simulcasting to YouTube. So the people I'm talking to, if you don't see them in the chat, that's Kaylee and Jenny are watching over on YouTube. Y'all just missing out, but I can see all of your stuff. I have tried to put live chat on here with I use OBS, and I've tried to use Streamlabs and OBS to do a live chat on screen, but sometimes it crashes my OBS and it doesn't always work. So in fact, let me see if, yeah, my chat box isn't even, let me see. It's not even really showing up right now. So I'm sure I have to go in and tweak the code or something. Let's see. Let's go to, but no, this is not pre-recorded. This is live, today's weather tonight. Let's take a look. You can see that actual reflectivity a lot better. The previous thing we were looking at was the winter weather product. This is the reflectivity product. So you can see where the heaviest rain is scooping itself into San Francisco Bay Area. And also up here towards Chico. I mean, didn't we just read about something burning down in Chico? Maybe this will put it out. And yeah, you see some decent rain coming into the Seattle area. Boise also not missing out on the precipitation. And you can see this little trail of moisture from the Gulf of Mexico feeding into the freezing rain that's happening to the southeast of Des Moines, Iowa. You can tell that this is like just waves after waves instead of one big system. It's more like skipping a rock than creating a whirlpool, where the air parcels float in and out vertically of areas where they could be rain clouds versus area where they are just non-condensed water vapor laden air. So that is going on, and we will continue to see this probably sweep through the rest of, we even have a little bit coming ashore near coastal Georgia right there. That's kind of sexy. That's like a little mysterious little beauty mark of a storm. That's kind of cute. You know, everybody else doing these big overstated dramatic storms, and then over here in coastal Georgia, we've just got like a little Betty Boop kind of like, maybe I'm a storm too. Either way, that's interesting. What am I talking about? Okay. Is this live or pre-recorded? Are you live or pre-recorded? That's what I want to know. Got 4 viewers, so I should continue the show. Okay. So we got some old friends and some new friends on here. So welcome everybody. You can ask Kaylee and Jenny. I'm not just any random crazy person. I'm a friendly one. You can ask anyone that knows me. I'm a very friendly, crazy person. Now, I'm not saying crazy in a derogatory way. I'm just saying crazy because, hear me out, the weather goes beyond the atmosphere. That's why I believe in observing the patterns in all waveforms simultaneously every day, in a regular fashion, because I believe that's the only way that we get to. I lost 2 viewers when I said that. Every time I say that weather goes beyond the atmosphere, people are like, I'm tuning out. Ugh, too controversial. Weather goes beyond the atmosphere. You're full of shit. Well, maybe I am. Why does it matter to you if I believe that the weather goes beyond just the atmosphere? I believe that the weather, like the waveforms in the interplanetary magnetic field, are related to the atmospheric oscillations in the ionosphere and magnetosphere, and that is related to the oscillations in the subsequent smaller shells around the Earth, and that even within the shells within the Earth, the oscillations in the lithosphere and magnetosphere, or not magnetosphere, the magmasphere, the mantle, everything inside eventually, on the long enough scale, becomes waves that could interfere and pop up or down in magnitude to go to the next level of density or less density. Let's go check that out now, actually. Let's go see what's happening in the magnetosphere. Magnetosphere, as we saw yesterday, was not looking super. We didn't have a whole lot of velocity on the leading edge of our magnetosphere. The sun would be like on the left half of the screen, and away from the sun is on the right half. When you see warm colors, that is velocity going away from the sun, and where you see cool colors, that is either zero velocity or going back towards the sun. So we're seeing even velocity going back towards the sun in front of the Earth, which is interesting. Usually that stays in a pocket well behind. But we've got a little bubble, a little bulge of velocity that's going back towards the sun here. Then in the density, let's see if that is paralleled here. Oh, I see it. There are incoming waves of density that have created like a bounce, a ripple effect. There's like this little bubble around Earth, and there's a contact lens of really high density around it. And when that lens has been bouncing back and forth towards and away from the Earth, it has caused a vacuum of density for some of this backwash, the flow that's usually on the other side of the Earth, to bubble around and actually be in front of the Earth. So the Earth is pretty well buffeting everything that's coming from the sun right now. This dense lens around the Earth is doing a good job of protecting us. Let's look at the pressure, because I'm sure that'll tell a interesting story as we see these bubbling waves coming as well. You can see the pressure increasing there, just going as these waves hit. Yeah. Some of that pressure that likes to stick around on the night side of the Earth is fully ringing or encapsulating the Earth itself. Usually we see like one lobe in the back and one lobe in the front. easier to see on the north-south slice, where you can see the North Pole, South Pole axis, and one lobe of magnetic flow and the other lobe of magnetic flow, both squished down by the oncoming solar wind and stretched out by the passing solar wind. But here on the dusk and dawn slice, you're seeing a really interesting, I don't often notice this being a full ring of equal pressure. And I bet that is from the little lens of Earth's magnetosphere fully reaching around the sides of it, from that bulging back and forth of the lens around it. Cool stuff. Let's see what that has done to our Schumann resonances. Of course, we're looking at the site that measures them out of Tomsk, really quieted down in the past 24 hours. Really just the past 24 hours is when it's quieted down. We had some spikes in activity the past 2 days, and then getting a little quieter. Still some interesting. Let me see if I can zoom in on this. No, it just zooms the page. It doesn't let me. Okay, if I go to 80% zoom, you can see it. You almost see an arc right here. And that is like a vocal signature. That is something that looks like what a spectrogram would show if it was demonstrating the pattern of my voice right now. It would show more like wavy lines, all parallel to each other, with the different resonances, the frequencies of the different resonances of my voice stacked like parallel lines. You see the parallel lines here. That is the resonant structures, the timbre of the sound of the Earth's voice. But you do interestingly see a little parabolic curve right there. I'm interested to see what other observers of the Schumann resonances have to say about that, such as Stefan Burns. He's one that I like a lot. Let's look at the frequencies. Frequencies have been steadily increasing, and they're at the higher phase. Usually mode 1 should be around 7.8. If it's anything above that, like near 8 something hertz, then that is in the higher range. These are all in their higher range of the mode, or of the mean there. And after that mode 4 peak, we had not much, just where that parabolic curve was in the spectrogram. We saw a little bit of an increase in the amplitude. But yesterday's anomaly in mode 4 was what was really striking. Got a lot of that higher frequency resonance coming in. Let's go now to look at our solar weather. And we have from 30 to 36, 35. So 6 coronal mass ejections happened on the 13th, and 1 already happened on the 14th. We don't have, let's pick a random one and look at the video. It looks decent, but not any chance of an Earth-directed portion. Let's see what our solar flares looked like. Nothing M-class. We had like 2-3 ventures into the M-class territory on December 13th, but nothing recently. Been staying in C-class territory. So looks like maybe we are winding down this particular episode of interference that created enough energy to have an X-ray or an X-class solar flare. Let's look at this. Oh, 3917, as it is on its way out, has now been moved to a beta gamma delta type classification. That's right here. It looks more complex. I really wish we had SDO imagery, but I think SUVI itself is the one just whoever hosts that is giving us imagery, and not very much. We don't have very many protons going on. M1, we had a minor radio blackout. 2 minor radio blackouts today, but nothing super exciting. Let me see. Is stereo going to give us any decent video? Probably not. Oh no, I have to open that file. Never mind. It makes me download it, and then I'd have to load a whole new window. Okay, not going to do that. Let's look at. All right, so these are the M-class flares that got recently ejected. Remember, on the 11th, we had 2 that had partial halos that could have gotten to Earth. So that's what we're seeing here. The impacts of those will probably be felt around the 17th and 18th. And are we going to show them here? No, we're not going to show them on Enlil yet. But the WSA model has shown that there are potential impacts from these coronal mass ejections coming. And of course, there are multiple launches modeled here, so we don't know how they're going to interact with each other. That all depends on what their internal properties are, and we don't really have a way to measure that right now. So we're just going to kind of model them as if they're the most basic generic ejections, and the actual physics of their waveform interactions could vary. So we'll just have to see what happens. But looks like we will get a little bit of a solar storm impacting us near the 17th and 18th. Velocity is definitely going up. Plasma density probably going up as well. Auroral activity, we're not looking too good today. I mean, there's a slight possibility in some areas, but not much. Hemispheric power isn't that high. We had a decent southward tilt, but not right now. Nothing's looking too exciting there. Let's look now at our planetary weather. Yeah, their loss. If they stopped listening because I said that the weather includes everything, then they don't want to be watching anyway. Oh yes, their loss. Okay. Now, today's planetary weather. We finally have some geometry in the sky that isn't some fucking oppositions and T-squares, which should make things a little bit more bearable. Good news, guys. We made it through this week. It was not an easy week for many people, but we made it through the time of the year when we had this nasty Venus and Pluto opposite Mars, along with Mercury retrograde and Jupiter retrograde, no longer opposing each other, but still remembering when they did. We've got, and the whole time that, like, since 2018, when Uranus has been in Taurus, anytime the moon has been in Taurus, it's been co-present with Uranus. So it's not even the easiest of exalted moons. But I'm not looking forward to it moving out of Taurus either. But my personal life might get more stable once it moves out of Taurus, since my sun and Mercury are at 24 and 25 degrees of Taurus. So I've been having a lot of Uranus conjunctions to my natal chart, which is a lot of changes. Things are changing. We got the moon at 8 degrees of Gemini, opposite Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius, and that Mercury is the ruler of Gemini. So looking to a Mercury retrograde for advice of how to behave is a little unhinged. unhinged Gemini moon energy. The sun just passed being in exact opposition with Pluto retrograde, or with Jupiter retrograde. I'm sorry. We're in the third decan of Sagittarius now. We're in the darkeningest of days. These are some of the darkest days of the entire year. It's important to remember that it's not just hard when the fall first sets in. It's also hard when we get to this time of year where we're really close to the solstice. It's a hard time of year. Don't fret. That is normal. It is a Saturn day and a Saturn hour at this point for me. And we've got Saturn at 13 degrees of Pisces, now officially direct, making a square to Jupiter retrograde in Gemini. So that is still making a square. That Saturn Jupiter square is an echo of back when Saturn and Jupiter had a conjunction in late Capricorn, also near Pluto in Capricorn. That is something we remember as spring of 2020. Now, this hasn't been quite as pronounced. This year hasn't been quite as pronounced of a clear hardship as we had in spring of 2020. But this has definitely been a cause for growth through discipline. And growth through discipline usually means being smacked in the face with discipline. It's like the ruler on the back of the hand. And maybe if getting a real spanking was Jupiter conjunct Saturn, then Saturn square Jupiter is more like a pop on the back of the head. Like, hey, remember that we can make this uncomfortable for you. Now, that happening in Pisces and Gemini is really putting a lot of emphasis on our transcendence, our community, relationships to death, substance use, all kinds of ways that we connect with people, ways that there are parallels between our internal relationship with ourselves and our external relationship with others, ways that we take care of our mental health, ways that community takes care of our mental health. All of this, finding community and finding resilience through expanding our social networks, finding a way to get through this Saturn and Pisces related issues of disciplining our escapist tendencies by finding networks and finding community, are Jupiter and Gemini themes. So this doesn't have to be, squares are like stairs. They only have to hurt if you deny they're there and run straight into them. If you walk to a staircase and don't walk up it and you walk right into it, it's gonna hurt. You're gonna fall right into the stairs and you're gonna fall up the stairs and you won't get up them. You'll just get bruises everywhere. But if you approach a staircase and you say, oh, those are stairs, I should step differently. I'm going to have to take a larger step up and engage more muscles to get to the next level. Then this could actually be a big step up, a big stepping stone for you. This is a very Saturn analogy, but Saturn is also like stairs, but squares and stairs and Saturn. Got a increasingly prominent Chiron Black Moon Lilith opposition. So look into what Black Moon Lilith in Libra and Chiron in Aries go into. Chiron in Aries. Chiron's one of the 4 major asteroids. Now, if you're wondering if Pluto counts as a planet, yes, it does for modern astrologers, and also asteroids count as objects that have influence and significations. Chiron is the wounded healer, and he is in Aries right now. So showing us wounds that have to do with our sense of self, appearance, ego, our head, like the brain, thought, mind, self, and ego and identity as it relates to being an individual and having individual tastes and desires. That being wounded and finding your greatest strength through the wound of that, such as like becoming a stand-up comedian because you were bullied, something like that, is in opposition to Black Moon Lilith in Libra. And Black Moon Lilith has to do with our dark feminine energy, our using the darkest, depthiest parts of us to explore a situation. So maybe engaging, what are our toxic traits when it comes to engaging socially or in love or in partnerships or contracts? What is that trying to tell us about our deeper motivations and our ways that we need to grow? I always think of Lilith as like having indications of where we can use our toxic traits for good and for lessons and learning. Because you don't just feel negative emotions for no reason. You feel negative emotions to try to like learn, be in response to stimuli in the world that are interacting with your internal state. You feel negative emotions because they're information of how you are currently interpreting what's happening in the world. So that being in Libra, having to do with those love, partnerships, peace, war, justice, social justice, larger groups, social settings that are bigger than Gemini social settings, like community. How is our wounded healer in our ego place interacting with our toxic traits that can be used for good in our Libra place? I think that is where I have been missing a lot of these lessons. I've been working on my Chiron in Aries lately. I have not been working on my Lilith in Libra types of tendencies. And it is Lilith's forward motion that is bringing us into the conjunction, even though Chiron is applying backwards because Chiron's moving retrograde. It's Lilith's motion is a little faster, so it's really Lilith's motion that is putting us in this opposition. Interesting stuff there. For our weather, we also have a lot of masculine planets right now. While we have Saturn, Neptune, and Uranus in Taurus and Pisces, those are our last three planets that are in water signs right now. Of course, the moon will go back and forth in and out of water and air signs as it goes throughout the month. And our sun is about to move into Capricorn, but I have a feeling that what's going on right now is a good foreshadowing of what's going to happen next spring when we have like 6, 7, 8, 9, like I think like almost every planet in a masculine sign, which is an air or fire sign, as opposed to a feminine sign being water or earth sign. That'll be really interesting. And we've got a lot of heavy war tensions right now. So also Pluto being in Aquarius, we're coming into the modern age, the new age of warfare, drones, airspace, ideas of aliens, and mind controlling propaganda, psyops. Cults have not been brought up very much recently, but I think cults are going to be a huge thing in the next 20 years, especially cults around New Age spirituality, alien theories, dedication to governments, and just local community cults. Now, a cult is just a type of tool, type of social tool created out of people directing their common will towards a singular belief or focus or set of ethics that have been invented or derived through whatever they've chosen to focus on. But it's a tool that can be used for better and for worse, not or. It can be used for good and bad simultaneously. So we'll just have to keep an eye on ourselves. And if we think we might be joining a cult, really question, do I think that putting my efforts towards the creation of this tool is going to be something that makes the world better. That's my little rant about that. Okay. Yeah. One step at a time. Fuck Lilith. Yeah. Yeah, that might bring war just a little bit. Just a little bit war-y looking transits. I'm not worried. I'm really not worried, but a lot of people will be. I think having survived Hurricane Helene and not relapsing, even though I was really fresh into recovery when the hurricane hit, like, has really emboldened me to feel like I can take on whatever's coming. Maybe I'm for better or worse about that. Maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong, but like, I feel like if you are on your personal journey of growth and choosing the highest, greatest good for yourself and the timeline you're on, then you're going to be okay. You can always remember, you can always time travel, selecting forward the correct timeline to be on where the best thing happens. That's how manifestation works. It's not that your thought creates the material changes. It's that your thought creates the resonant change that you're in the morphic field of the timeline where that happens. You're self-selecting to bring your conscious awareness to the timeline where the thing you're manifesting is the thing that happens. So yeah, things will get hairy, but you can choose to be on the timeline where that works out best for you and those around you. It can be for better. Okay, who wants to come out today? It is not my work to control others. That is what I was just saying. We can only control ourselves. It is not my work to control others, and it shows if the white balance will focus. Maybe not. It has a butterfly next to a path in the woods. It is not my job to control others. Trying to limit anybody about anything defies the laws of the universe. It cannot be done. You cannot control others, but you can control and create your own reality. It's literally what I was just saying. You can control and create your own reality, and that is the extent of what you can control. That's why manifesting that has to do with controlling other people doesn't work. You can manipulate other people, but it's not awesome to do that. Yeah, remember what you control yourself. Thank you. You're proud of me. That means a lot. And I'm beautiful. Thank you. You're beautiful. I love you. Thanks for being here. I feel beautiful more and more often these days, which is good. But it doesn't always, that's not the meaning of life, you know? I don't have to feel beautiful to feel fulfilled, but it does help, you know? It does help me feel a little better about myself. So thanks. I'm also really good at lighting. That's my day job. My day job is working in lighting. So I do know how to find my light and my angles pretty well. So that is a manipulation tactic. Always displaying myself in very good lighting angles is it's not great for my glare on my glasses, but this is the angle that the light needs to be on my face to be the most flattering. Oh, yesterday we got the Page of Cups upright. Today we got the Page of Cups in reverse. So it is not my work to control others. Page of Cups in reverse telling us that maybe we're turning the corner with the thing that was coming with our subconscious mind, the emotions and feelings coming out of our subconscious. Things have been revealed and are revealing themselves. Let's look at Page of Cups reversed. Maybe we have not really looked at these emotions. New ideas. Okay, instead of creative opportunities, intuitive messages, curiosity, possibility, that's upright. Reversed, the Page of Cups gives new ideas, doubting intuition, creative blocks, and emotional immaturity. So maybe dwelling on keeping your creative ideas a secret, keeping your emotions a secret. Maybe you're afraid that others will steal your ideas or it's destined to fail. Keeping your creations to yourself. Maybe being in denial of what your subconscious is bringing to your conscious mind. Don't hold yourself back. I'm talking to myself here. Don't hold yourself back just because you're afraid of failure or you're afraid of success. Don't not put yourself out there just because you're afraid to succeed. That's a hard one for me to hear because I like being in control of. I'm a control freak. I want to be in control of even my failure. I want to be the one that decides that I fail. So I don't want to put my things out there in earnest effort and have them fail. And I didn't want that outcome. How embarrassing would that be to genuinely try and fail? Actually, I don't think it would be that embarrassing. I think it would be brave to actually genuinely try and just blatantly fail. So I'm gonna try not to hold myself back when it comes to creative output, but that's a really, really hard task. Going for the liminal space. Yesterday after the show, this one popped out. It said, got a packet of sugar on it, and it says, be your own daddy, which is provide for yourself. That's what the meaning of that card is. Liminal space, oh liminal space. What do you have to say for us today? It is not my work to control others, and the Page of Cups reversed. Maybe we shouldn't try to control other people's perceptions of us by hiding the parts of us that have recently come to light. Cloud. Maybe doing all this emotional work doesn't mean shit if I'm still trying to control and manipulate a lot of people. And people pleasing counts as manipulation. Perhaps I need to just be chill and cool with myself and happy that I'm producing any work at all and processing any emotions at all instead of being weird about it. Okay, postcards from the liminal space. What do you have to say? Not my work to control others. Page of Cups reversed. Okay, nobody wants to jump out today. Nobody's jumping out. Okay. Ooh. The primary problem with language is its magic. We got this one the other day, and it's got like a Tower of Babel looking illustration on it. Which, if you remember, the Tower of Babel was the story in the Old Testament where they tried to build a tower all the way up to heaven. And God didn't like that, so God destroyed it also made people speak different languages because we were getting too crafty with our one language, which is an interesting craft, language, magic, Tower of Babel, interesting parallels they picked for all of this. I think this was under P. Yeah, the primary problem with language is its magic. Just as a shaman will insist there is a difference between smoking a cigarette and praying with tobacco, there is a distinction between speaking and the casting of language as a tool. And it is the most prolific of all our tools. A person can be forever moved by a song, a book, an insult, an argument. Nothing can ever truly be taken back, just as energy cannot be destroyed. I was talking to a friend about this earlier tonight. Sometimes in real life, conversation is harder than that on the internet because you can't delete what you said. You can't just go back and revise the text and think about it a long time before you send it. You have to have a conversation in real time. And that's the magic. You immediately lock in a scene of what happened in that timeline. Interesting. Okay. The things we say have power, both backwards and forwards through time. Primary problem with language is its magic. Let's remember that everything we're doing is a spell, even if we forget that it is a spell. Words are magic. That's why it's called spelling. Okay. Try not to be manipulative and controlling with my words. Try to only express my truth and my creativity. Not create with somebody else's timeline. Only create with my own timeline. Gotta let that sink in. That's hard. It's harder to just sit in my own timeline instead of try to meddle in other people's, because it's more entertaining and less scary when you meddle in other people's timelines, because you're not the one at risk. When you sit here in authenticity, crafting in your own timeline, it is kind of scary. Okay. I love you guys. Thank you so much, Jenny and Kaylee, and whoever else stopped in or will watch this in the future. Thank you so much for coming to another episode of Today's Weather Tonight. I am, again, your meteorologist, Cloud Hudson, signing off for the night. If you'd like to leave me a tip, you can do that on the Venmo, but don't give anything that you are unable to give. I just want to open that channel for anybody who wants to interact with it. It's in the description. You can subscribe and comment and do anything you want. I will always give you personal forecasts well, I won't always, but while the channel is still so small like this, I will definitely give personal forecasts. So, love you guys. Stay strong. Have a great evening. Bye.